If you guys are unaware, the Outer Worlds 2 game director is coping and seething a little bit. And when I say coping and seething, I mean he's trying to do damage control. She's trying to do whatever it is. I think it's a guy. He's trying to do damage control, and he's trying to do the same exact thing that Randy Pitchford from Borderlands was trying to do, which is essentially try to convince every single gamer out there that they have no power in decision making whatsoever when it comes to the price. Now, let's be real. That might be true to some extent, but I am sure that the game director could have some level of influence eventually at some point in time, or at least get in the ears of the right person when the time comes. But of course, what's happening in the world of $80 video games is that they're all tending to point the finger and trying to blame someone else, because nobody wants to just sit here and admit that they want to charge $80 for their game because they're greedy as hell. Nobody wants to sit there and admit that, oh, well, Nintendo got away with it, so clearly we're going to try to get away with it too, because we all want to see our games valued at the same exact dollar, even though they're really not worth the same. But they're going to do it anyway. So Outer Worlds 2 is the first game from Xbox that has announced the $80 price tag, which, by the way, they did it very silently. They only allowed it really to be seen on Steam. They never really made it a topic of conversation because nobody wants to touch that landmine of pricing. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to face the piper at some point. And now it seems like we finally have some responses from people over at the development team. So let's get into this video. But of course, before we do, special shout out to the 89,800 now subscribers of the channel. We are under 200 subs away from hitting 90,000. Consider hitting that subscribe button today. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's get into this, boys. Outer Worlds 2 director Brandon Adler clarified that Obsidian Entertainment isn't responsible for making its first $80 game on Xbox. In May, Microsoft announced that the game prices will increase to $80 starting this holiday season. This is the new industry standard set, as Mario Kart World also costs $80, and Borderlands 4 is set to follow suit with the same exact price tag. In defense of the decision, Nintendo argued that it was justified due to the game's value to players. Now, again, this whole value sentiment, this whole value argument, it's something that gets utilized all the time. Okay, literally all the time, because at this point, they're trying to convince all of you and gaslight you into making you think that this is totally legit, right? We're totally not being greedy. We need this to be $80 in order for us to have any chance to continue to make these amazing games for you, right? They want to convince you that the $80 price tag is a necessary evil. But the simple fact is, this is an industry that has capitalized and monetized itself in so many different ways that the price of the game is far beyond, like, that's not even the most important thing when it comes to monetization. First, it was $70. And then after $70, you were being charged multiple different DLC prices if you want to get the full experience. Or if it's a live service game, you got battle passes every 3 months. You know, you got skins that could be purchased. All of these things were ways that allowed these studios to make an ungodly amount of money, where some of them are even reporting maximum revenue and record-breaking profits every single year, and yet they're trying to tell you that $80 is necessary and they totally have to do it. It's an absolute gaslight, but that's besides the point. Now, Randy Pitchford did the same exact thing. If you guys remember that whole debacle with the whole real fans thing, right? You're not a real fan unless you pay $80 for Borderlands 4. That whole debacle that blew up in his face to the point where he had to give away Borderlands 2 for free in order to make people feel bad for him on Steam. That's the price of the game. You know, Pitchford slightly walked that back on a comment on X, arguing that it was not his intent to take fans for granted. Yeah, totally. This is the same guy that made the joke about taking out the minimap and selling it back to you as DLC. Yeah, but he's totally not trying to take advantage of you as a gamer. But in response to the Outer Worlds 2 becoming the first $80 game on Xbox, the game director had choice words as well. So let's see what this guy had to actually say. He had an interview with Games Radar, and Adler said the following: "We are a game developer. We love to make games. We don't set the prices for our games." Well, that's true. Usually the publisher is the one that sets the price for video games, in case you guys didn't know that. Like, personally, as a game developer, I wish everybody could play my game because that's what I want out of this whole thing. Adler contain. But for the reasons and so like why the $79.99 price point, you'd have to honestly talk to the Xbox folks. Games Radar explained that Adler avoided talking about his own personal feelings during the interview at the Summer Games Fest of 2025, but that he made his point well enough without clearly stating it. You know, it's interesting to me that Insider Gaming has a habit of taking things that people never said and then pretending like they said it, right? They're the kind of journalists that is like, oh, so you say you don't like cats? Okay. So that means you actually technically like cats, but you just didn't want to say it without saying it. But that's okay. You're telling me you don't like cats. That's fine. I'm going to report that you like cats, but you didn't actually want to say that you like cats. That's what Insider Gaming does all the time. But, you know, whatever. Anyway, so at this point, now we have this CEO, or this, not the CEO, we have the developer here, the game developer. He's out here trying to pretend as if he has no influence. Listen, we get it. Okay. We get it. You have no influence. But the simple fact is you have to represent your company, right? You have to represent your game. And at this point, sure, could it be the fault of Xbox? Absolutely. It most likely is 99% of the time because they're the publisher of the game, whatever. Fine. Not a problem. But at the end of the day, man, you have to represent your game. It's a question that gamers have for you. It's a question that you have to answer, and you have to answer directly. Everybody's trying to dance around the bush of $80 because nobody wants to just confront it and say what the truth is. You guys want to charge maximum for your game because you feel like you can now. That's basically it. That's like literally the answer. It really should be as simple as that. But of course, they don't ever want to make it that simple. $80 games are going to be the norm, unfortunately, because of Nintendo and because of the simple fact that all these guys got together, all these bigwigs got together probably a year ago and said, this is the time we're going to get away with it. This is the time that we're going to do it. And they all decided that they're going to do it. And I understand that as a game developer, perhaps you want to run damage control and you want to try to get the blame shifted away from you. But everybody's doing that, right? Everybody's doing that in the gaming industry. Look at Randy Pitchford. Again, I hate keep bringing him up, but you have to keep bringing him up because he is the CEO of Gearbox. And even he is trying to pass all blame to other people. He's like, well, I get it. I'm the CEO, but I don't make decisions around here when it comes to pricing. I don't even know what the price is going to be. Can you imagine as a CEO trying to gaslight people into thinking that you don't know what the price of your video game is going to be? That's insane to me. Of course you know what the price of the fucking game is going to be. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I think that this statement here really doesn't do too much to save the face of Outer Worlds 2. I think people have made up their mind about this game in the sense of whether or not it's worth it for them to purchase or not. But what I will say is just continue to utilize the streamers that are available to you. Even if it's not myself, you can utilize streamers to get extended trials to see if this game is even remotely worth $80. But at this point, I think we can all safely say that the chances of that being true is probably extremely slim, considering how the first Outer Worlds played and also considering how Avowed played. And that game just recently came out from Obsidian. So I highly doubt that Outer Worlds 2 is going to be, much better than that experience that is going to warrant $80 at retail. Wait until the game ends up going on sale. I mean, in all actuality, if you wait long enough, the game will probably end up being free on the Epic Game Store because the first one was given away for free as well. So if you wait long enough, you could probably get the game for free on Epic Game Store. But you guys can let me know in the comments down below. What do you think about this nonsense? Do you believe what the game director is saying, that he has absolutely no control over the pricing? Or do you actually believe that they are going to even care about the pricing at this point? Because let's be real, they all benefit from it. So why would they care? This is just a massive push to try to get people to Game Pass. That's really what it's about. Xbox knows what they're doing by charging $80 for a game that should be $50 at max. They know exactly what they're doing. Push people to Game Pass and try to convince them that that's the better value for the gamer instead of actually trying to semi-own your video game by purchasing it on a platform like Steam or actually own it on a platform like GOG. You can let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And like I said, if you're not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button to help me get to 90K. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video.